Item number 3, communications with the 911 systems coordinator.
The only thing that I have is I did finally receive the employee handbook.
Thank you.
The employee handbook from Hosea Saturday and Montgomery. It was sent to the personnel committee for review, and hopefully I can get back everybody's feedback by Monday so we can do those corrections and then send it out to everybody for review.
Okay, it is in draft, and once you get through with the draft, you're going to send it out to the whole board after the personnel committee finishes their draft.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Nothing. I've got something, I don't seem to have a proper agenda.
What do you not have?
You done got that one, he's got something.
Mine's different. Mine's
He's
different.
got like 9 items, I've got like 6 items.
No, you got it wrong. I see what I did. I left
You
these.
got 9 items.
Yeah, she didn't put these 2 on there.
Sorry.
You'll forgive me.
The communications from the board and communications to me, sorry.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number, on my agenda, this would be number 2 on yours, is resolution number 2017-3. Approval to reject the bid from ESB in the amount of $71,498 for the audio-visual system for the new Emergency Operations Center and the ability to negotiate the purchase to ensure lower than bid price.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval, discussion.
I suppose this is going, the idea was that there's probably another company that can do what we wanted, but do it cheaper.
Yeah.
And this is the avenue to get to where.
Yes and no. Lee Moore is here and he's going to explain, because we've been going
I'll
back and forth.
very quickly. The state law allows and requires when you have a single bidder respond. So we sent it out to 7 individual companies. We only actually had 1 response. So if you look, there was a note that was printed that has a red down at the bottom. That's actually the copy of the state law. And so we're recommending that the board follow state bid law, reject the bid, and then negotiate with that company on the final configuration. And as long as the negotiated price is lower than their bid amount, we can purchase it directly and be in compliance. That's the motion.
Was there something in the bid that is unreasonable that nobody but one would turn it back in?
No, sir. In fact, we worked very closely and answered questions for 3 different vendors. We had a Q&A period, written questions, and answered those. I followed up with another company that was in Pensacola that came and looked at the job, and they said they just, first of the year, ran out of time, had bigger projects going. So that was their response on that. But we do have documentation of all the documents that went out, as well as the questions and answers that were delivered to follow procedure.
And Mike, you mentioned a few of the items that are part of this bid. I mean, we're talking a projector.
There are all of the display monitors and the electronics to put different sources on TVs. So it's all video. There's no audio really in the system. It's all monitors within the city dispatch, county dispatch, the small conference room, the large conference room, and then the electronics to make those work behind the scenes.
And one following thing, was it manufacturer specific to?
No,
So it was kind of a generic, if you will.
We used, the actual language was anywhere there was a specific part number, comma, or equivalent component.
Okay.
And so we're pretty specific about following the regulation on that. Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Item number 5, resolution number 2017-4, approval to update description of building technology specialist.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval. Any discussion?
Yes, what's the details of what we're doing? Was that a Holly question or a Rob question?
That would be a Holly question. And it's the job description.
It's the job description. Whenever we initially put it out and there was back and forth about whether we were going to hire an IT position or whether we were going to hire a building maintenance position / IT position. That's the job description that was worked up. Out of that job description, we received 2 applicants to come into it. Neither of the 2 applicants fit the minimal qualifications, but we went ahead and interviewed because we had the 2. I brought the expertise in on the interview, Mr. Corbin, Randy Morris. After interviewing and seeing, and them knowing the building, and Randy Morris set up, and he come over there and looked at the building, so he had a clear understanding of what was expected of them. They would still do some, initial troubleshooting, but as far as getting in the guts and stuff of the computer, you can't have 2 of the same. We can't finance or afford to hire enough IT personnel to run the communications center on a 24-hour, 365 basis. So we're asking to make the job description more applicable to the position. So whenever it comes time to reviewing the employee, they're fairly graded, and the needs of the district are met as far as the building is concerned. The few changes that we made, I gave.
Hold it before you go any further.
Yes, sir.
We have had several discussions, of course, about the IT versus building maintenance and the fact that we could not afford to hire IT with the salary that we had in our budget. What decided you, you have that authority by the job description that you're under. Why did you seek Mr. Corbin and Mr. Randy Morris?
One, because they deal with building maintenance on a day-to-day basis. As recent as just Friday, Dothan City Radio Shop was at the building needing to install or start the installation of the Motorola consoles in the city side. We need somebody to affix the electrical outlets inside the box. A handyman, somebody that carries a screwdriver. We don't have anybody. So they're the people I called. Mr. Corbin, can I borrow somebody in the city, in the district, reimburse that personnel for that time and service to do these things?
Randy
Once
Morris
I
provided
trust-
those individuals
Right, Randy
to
Morris
help you.
sent somebody over there. He went right to work. He worked in front of the City of Dothan Radio Shop, so as he got them affixed in those positions, and then they went behind them and did the work. They're the ones that knows it. As a matter of fact, whenever we went through the job description, the new one, and there's very little that I changed. You can see on your copies the italicized part, or the highlighted part. Whenever Randy come over there and walked through the building, there was some things that we had initially put in the description as even on the HVAC system. And he says, Holly, we don't have that kind of HVAC system in this building. Let's take that out. There's no need in it being in their job description if they're never gonna do it because it's not in the facility. So with their help and them going through it, it's simple, and Mr. Corbin brought up, the aerial lifts. Now, we do have LED lighting in the parking lot, but you're gonna need to be able to get in a bucket truck and change out LED lighting, whether it's 5 years from now or 20 years from now. Simple things like that that were not in the initial description that is in there that is gonna be needed of them.
And this board is approved to continue having IT functions being done by the city with a contract,
That's correct.
and to move toward hiring a building maintenance, is what we've been calling it, specialist, to help with building stuff.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And that's from the screwdrivers to changing light bulbs to helping move small monitors to et cetera, that we've
Right.
talked about a bunch.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're always clear on that. Okay.
And does this include janitorial type work
Yes,
also?
sir. Yes, sir.
So this person is gonna do everything from mop the floors to a whole host of.
General maintenance, right, of the facility.
So our initial job description basically was someone to do all minor maintenance, janitorial services, and be an IT specialist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, our original one was probably trying to get somebody overqualified to do what we're wanting to do.
And if you remember, we brought the IT specialist up and say, what would it cost to hire somebody from this? We wouldn't even, that's more money than Holly makes.
But now, as far as the overqualified stuff that some has, without a better way of putting it, that we have now removed, going back to the 2 that we did interview, would that or would that not put them closer to being able to do these items?
Absolutely.
So out.
Because that wasn't the job that they applied for. This is a different job description. And for me to be able to fairly grade them on an annual evaluation, I believe that their job performance, what they're expected to do, coincides with what their job description is. What I've got on file is them applying for a building technology specialist. We're changing it to building maintenance technician, which is what both of those gentlemen are, able to do. There's no doubt in my mind. And with us changing the description a little bit, it gives them the luxury and the ability to reapply for the position if they meet the minimum qualifications.
Okay, on the essential job functions down there, the only thing I had a question on that was number 13. Said responds to just the first portion. Said responds to public inquiries in a courteous manner. At what point is this person going to have interaction to respond to the public? Because actually speaking, this person is going to be working directly for you, and any response that we have to the public is going to be coming from you, correct?
Correct, but they're gonna deal with vendors. They're gonna be dealing with not only our admin hall, they've got to deal with the city comm center, county comm center, EMA. If EOC is activated, the media is gonna be in our building. We're gonna be doing tours for probably 18 to 24 months. So there's gonna be people coming in that they're gonna have to be able to interact with the public. I
And
mean,
he may
even
be
though it's
out-
a secure building, it's a public facility, and we're gonna,
Those are the best examples, but he may be out in the yard picking up litter in the first, he may be the first contact somebody in the public has.
And the point's public inquiries. Yeah.
I guess with me, I guess.
So he could be off duty.
Right, and I guess my part of it was, I was just curious as to what part he would be, if there was any discussions of what's going on. Of course, that would not be his.
no, and I wouldn't expect them to do a media interview or, something to that nature, but they're gonna have to interact with people.
What's the pay range?
It's the same, and I don't have it with me, I don't believe. I think it starts at the very bottom, it starts at 16
Tanya
and some
probably
change
have
an
that.
hour. Do you have that with you?
Oh, you didn't have, okay.
I wanna say it starts, hourly is like 16 and some change, I think is what it starts at.
Low 30 range.
And so has the pay range changed?
No,
now
sir.
that you-
Actually speaking, it's probably gotten closer to what it qualifies to be.
Right, it was under
And
for
I do
an
know
IT,
that
for sure.
I do know that one of the discussions that we had on that is, again, I think we're looking at a large amount of responsibility for a lower salary. And at this point, I think we're moving the responsibility down a little bit to a more qualified area of that same salary.
I think that's a good point, and you could chime in too, Mr.
Well,
Well,
removing any talk about anything to do with IT, probably may encourage, more people, to apply, because there's some might have backed off last time because the IT stuff was in there. And, knowing they didn't have anything, didn't apply. So this may increase the pool, it may not, I mean, the same thing may be the only ones that apply, but there may be more that applies.
excuse me.
I mean, this time either. May I say something?
You sure may.
Okay. I just wanted to, before you vote, remind the board that when this came out as the technology specialist, one of the things that we were looking for from an IT perspective was that frontline help troubleshooting. And the funding that was being reimbursed to the city for those functions was cut to try to help fund this position. So I just wanted to bring that up and have that in front of you.
What does that mean, Rob?
That means that we are doing exactly the same job for less. And I just wanted to make the board aware of that.
Okay. Noted. Thank you, brother. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Resolution number 2017-5, approval to update job description of E-911 data specialist and advertise for position.
Second.
Have a motion and second for approval. Any discussion? And this, we do have, our current E-911 data specialist is retiring from the city. So that's creating a new vacancy for us to fill. And that will come, of course, now, instead of being paid and working totally under the city, even though we do provide funding for that position, it will be under the E-911's job to hire and maintain that position based on the job description.
You say this is a city employee? Is
It currently is, with us reimbursing salary.
They're a city employee, they're not gonna become a county employee.
And that's what that district.
They'll be a district employee.
Now,
decided.
it doesn't really say who the supervisor is, but that's gonna be,
That would
you-
fall under.
I did notice that. It does need to state that in the description,
Okay.
who this individual will report to.
Okay.
I looked over, that's the only change I would say needs to be called out.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Carol Harris for 30 years of dedicated service to, a large part of that was in the communication center, and has been an exemplary employee and is going to be dearly missed when she retires.
Totally agree with you.
She's done a very, very good job, and we want to wish her the best in her retirement.
And I would ask Holly that we get something for her to show her commitment to the E-911 itself, that she can take with her in her retirement. Whether that's a certificate or whatever, whatever you desire. All right, so do we need to go back to the motion if we need to add something to the job description before we approve it and put that in? Or can we just approve it directly, understanding that we're going to add that? Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Item number 5, resolution number 2017-6, approving of advanced travel request for E-911.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Motion number 9, item number 9, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank y'all for coming today. We're glad to have you. Y'all have a great day.
Holly, we